To get started, we need a pencil and a CD. You'll want to make sure you have at least one full circle traced. After that, you can have some half circles and quarter circles, but at least one full circle. Don't forget to trace the inside. Our donuts need to have holes in the middle. Now we need to keep tracing to fill the page. Make sure that your donuts don't overlap. You can go up and down, side to side. You can see here, I'm kind of going in between. They can be close to each other, but they cannot touch or overlap. When you do one that goes off the edge, don't forget to do the inside if you can see it on the paper. Otherwise, your circle might not end up in the center of your donut. Now that I'm done, I need to draw the toppings for my donut. This one's going to have frosting and sprinkles, I think. For this one, I'm going to turn it into one of those twisted donuts, or you might call it a cruller too. So to do that, I need to divide it into spaces. Just some straight lines that go across. You don't want big spaces. Smaller, skinnier spaces are better. Now I need to curve my corners. We want a rounded edge at the top and a rounded edge in the middle. This one's not even going to have a hole. It's going to be one of those ones that's twisted and it's got cinnamon all the way through. So I'm just going to do a spiral and I'll erase the circle in the center. This one's going to have cherries in the center, so I need to make sure that I add the filling there. And I think I'm going to add some frosting that goes back and forth too. If you want a plain donut, you can have one too. I think I'm going to leave this one in the corner plain, but you don't want all of your donuts plain. Now we need to trace everything. Once we're done tracing, we're going to move on to coloring. You'll notice I erased some of my extra pencil marks, because that way I don't have to worry about coloring over them. Remember, neatness always counts. When it comes to these cruller looking ones, we need to worry about shading, just like we've talked about in class. So you're going to push harder so that it looks like there's shadows where our donut would go in. That way it kind of has that flowery look that we were going for. If If you want, you can also go in with a darker brown to make those shadows really look like shadows. For our spiral donut, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our colored pencil and we're going to push harder in our spiral so that it looks like it's going in a spirally shape and it's got kind of an indent where like the cinnamon would go. After we're done with all our donuts, we can put our colored pencils to the side for a bit, and we're going to need our pencil again. First, we have to decide which area our light's coming from. So I'm going to have the light come from the top of my picture. That means that the shadows are going to be on the bottom, all right? So for the bottom half of this donut, I'm going to go and drop some pencil in, just shading a little bit. Make sure that you only do about the bottom half, and then you're going to take your finger to kind of spread it. And this is going to give the donut a shadow effect. And I'll actually go in and do another layer in a little bit here, but I want to get this little bit down first. This go around I'm going to push a little bit harder because the closer to the donut it is, the darker the shadow is going to be. Just like you can see on my hand in this video. The shadow on my hand is darker closer to my hand and lighter farther away. Just like anytime we smear anything, your finger's going to get dirty, so be careful about that. You don't want to get fingerprints everywhere. Now you can move on to your next donut. Make sure you're doing the same side. For donuts with holes, you need to make sure that the hole is a shadow as well. So the opposite side of the donut is actually going to be the top of the hole. Remember, since we're using a pencil, you can always go back in and erase a little bit. Now that I'm done with my main shadows, I can go back in and drop in some shadows on the actual donuts themselves. Just make sure it's on the same side as our pencil shadow.